What's going on, guys? I've been back here with another hard video. In this video I'm going to show you 5 ways to which you can level up your cartoon drawing in Adobe Photoshop. Welcome back, guys. If you are new here, what I simply do on this channel is that I teach people how to make graphic design using Photoshop and also how to draw digitally with the use of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. So if you're interested in this, consider subscribing. Starting with the tip number 5, always focus on the ray of light falling on your eyeball. As little as it may look, it goes a long way in giving your artwork a more detailed look. Let's take a look at an example. Look at these 2 images. Which one is more attractive and more detailed? If you were a client, which one will you choose? I guess the one on the second slide. So let me tell you how to do it in a very simple step. The first step you have to make is to create a layer above your line art. Number 2 is to make a selection of a curved-like rectangle and then right click, go down to few parts, select color and then fill the color with a dark purple almost falling to gray. And also above the first shape you made, make a circle selection and then follow the same processes and fill it with white. That is a very simple way to do that. Moving on to tip number 4, give your artwork a cool background. I see a lot of people with awesome artworks, but a very horrible background makes people lose interest in viewing their works. When you see a picture, the first thing you notice isn't the person in the image at times. In fact, we tend to check the background more before looking at the figure in the picture. So that shows why you should focus more on your background. Most of the time I use a plain color background, and at times I add a little gradient to the background. If you want to draw a background yourself like how Chris Art on Instagram did this, you have to make sure the details at the background such as the lights are also reflecting on the cartoon, or else it will look cool but not so realistic. Same thing I also did in the latest GTA style cartoon art I did some months ago. I will link the video up in the card above, and if you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Moving on to tip number 3, manipulate your artwork a little. There are many ways you can make your cartoon look more dope by changing some stuff and replacing it with more better one. For example, take a look at this cartoon and take a look at the reference. The baby was sitting on a 1-seater cushion. Then when drawing the cartoon, I replaced it with another seater. You can do more than that if you want to make your artworks look more dope, and if your client also wants it. There are many other cool stuff you can do, like changing the color of the clothes, changing the color of the person's eyeball, and many other cool things you can do by manipulating your artworks. Moving on to the second tip, which is the color adjustments. This is very useful. I see so many artworks with wrong skin color, and at times it is totally off. I've once been in their shoes before, but I learned and I upgraded myself. You should too. Let's imagine you finish your artworks and you realize the color isn't as dope, and at times it might look greenish, but there is a way you can change it, and it is a very simple step. Just follow me. The first thing you need to do is that, let's say this is your layer, the layer for the deepest, and you have your deepest shadow here, and then let's say this is the layer for another lighter shadow, then you have it here, and then let's say this is another layer for one of the shadows, one of the shadows. Let's just use this. Let's say these three colors right here are very wrong and you want to change them. The thing you have to do is that you just have to select the 3 layers all together, and then you have to group them. Select the 3 layers together and press Ctrl G to group them. Then what you want to do is to come down to this adjustments layer and select blue and saturation. Then you can just play around the color till you get the perfect color, and then you can play with the saturation till you get the perfect color you want. That's the easiest way for you to correct that. Moving on to tip number 1, which is the last tip for this video, is adding your perfect shadows. Look at these 2 images right here. The first one with the shadows and the second one without shadows. Which one looks more dope? The one with the shadows, I guess. Let me tell you one thing. The deeper your shadows, the more realistic your cartoon will look like. Adding shadows make your cartoon more dope and makes people recognize who you're working on easily. So you can add your shadows starting from the deepest to the highlight to make your cartoon more dope. I understand you might not be able to get it at once, but I believe with time and more practice you'll be able to add some perfect shadows to make your artworks look dope. Apart from adding shadows on the image, on the faces of the artwork, you can also add some cool shadows to the background. Let's say you're placing a cartoon on a plain background, and you can make it look more realistic by adding some drop shadows to the back of the cartoon, and then placing the shadow in a degree and the perspective of where the light is bouncing on the artwork to make it more realistic and more dope. And I believe if you should practice these 5 steps, your artwork will level up and people will begin to patronize you the more. Thank you for sticking around, and if you really enjoyed this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and then don't forget to click on post notifications so you'll be notified anytime I release a new video. And I will be happy to see you guys in my next one. Peace out.